Hello, everyone. Welcome to our session on student presentations online, tools and strategies. Our presentation today will be approximately 30 minutes long, and then it will be followed by a question and answer session. If you could jot down your questions and hold them till the question and answer session, that would be great. Thank you so much. We're recording the session today to allow you to watch it again if you want to. And the recording will be posted in the Faculty Development's YouTube page. We have a number of the recordings from all of these sessions for our Keep Teaching series on our Keep Teaching website. And we'll also be posting and have already curated a number of resources on that Keep Teaching site as well. Today we're going to be exploring tools and strategies for online presentations. And first, I'd like to go through navigation of the Blackboard Collaborate system in case any of you are new to the tool. First, you could raise your hand if you could please let me know if you can hear me. And your hand tool is at the bottom of the screen. And it looks like a little person holding their hand up. I see several people have raised their hands. Okay. Okay, it looks like the audio is going through just fine. Okay, thank you. If you are having trouble with the audio, make sure that your headset and your speaker is turned on, and if you do the audio check and you still can't hear, then you can leave the session by clicking on the three purple lines at the top left corner of the screen. They're referred to as the hamburger button. You'll see a food theme in this discussion today. You can leave the session and then enter again. Make sure you close your browser. To open the Blackboard Collaborate panel, on the lower left side of your screen, on the lower right side of your screen, there's two arrows and it looks like a carrot. Click on the gear symbol and then a number of options will appear. If you're still having trouble with audio, then you can use the audio call-in number that I provided in the reminder email, and that will come up when you try to enter the session. That's another option too, and you can share that information with your students when you are using Collaborate in your teaching for this remote teaching that we're currently doing. Click on the settings, and as I had asked, if we could keep the audio and camera off for the majority of the session and then test it maybe during the Q&A, but you can access the camera and the audio through that gearbox, or you can also access it at the bottom of the screen, clicking on the microphone icon or the video icon, and you can see when you're talking and you have the video icon, have the microphone icon clicked, then you'll see the microphone is transmitting. You'll see it moving, and if you click the share video, you'll get a preview of the video before you actually share it, so you can see if it needs to be adjusted. And the icon next to the little bubble, it looks like two people. If you click on that, it provides a list of all the people who are enrolled in the session. This is helpful for you to see which of your students have enrolled in your session if you're using Blackboard Collaborate as a tool, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. It also can give you an idea of people who might have had issues logging in and they might need additional support, might need to be referred to the recording for additional information. And the chat box is the last bubble. It kind of looks like a conversation bubble on the far left side of that tool on the bottom of the screen and you type your messages there, and you click enter, you hit enter on your computer, and then your text will populate and you can chat with the rest of the people in the room. Today we're going to be talking about student presentations online. We're going to be focusing on tools and strategies. And just as a foundation for this, presentations can be a really good way to allow students to share their knowledge of the concepts in the course, and it's a good way to build engagement in the course. And there are a wide variety of tools that we're going to that are available for students to present online. And in this workshop, we're going to have an overview of a number of tools. This workshop will not focus on step-by-step hands-on how you use the tools. We have other resources for that. We're going to look at kind of the broad view of these different tools that are available for students to use when they're presenting online. My name is Yvonne Johnson, and I'm the Multimodal Teaching Coordinator in the Faculty Development and Instructional Design Center. And I'll be presenting the overview of the various tools, and then we'll have a question and answer session after the presentation. So if you could pull those questions till then, that would be helpful. Thank you. To build community in the online environment, it is important to share introductions. So what I would like for you to do is share your introductions in the text chat. And if you could please answer what department you're from, if you're from NIU or a different university, where are you joining us from? Are you at home, a coffee shop, some kind of other place where you set up your office? And how do you plan to use student presentations in your online course? If you could each please type that in the text box, so we can kind of see who's online and what they're thinking about using presentations for in their online courses. So I see Christine from management is in her home office, and you're still looking at ways to how you might use presentations. Yes, that makes sense. We're exploring these various tools. And we have Julie from LEPF and joining from home, planning to use Collaborate, looking at different ideas. Okay. Melissa from Environmental Studies at home, and for considering using presentations for students to share their opinion pieces for class. Okay. And Kim in Health and Human Sciences, Health and Human Sciences is at home looking for ideas. Okay. And Natalie from Special and Early Education Department, you're looking for, you're at your home office looking for Blackboard Collaborate to present their final projects. Okay. And Mike from OMIS at home, looking at considering using it for student presentations in late April. Okay. And Julie thinking about using group presentations. Okay, so that's awesome. So you're looking at a different, even, okay, College of Liberal Arts and Sciences, looking at familiarizing yourself with the Blackboard Collaborate tools. Okay, all right, thanks. So there's a wide variety of different perspectives, things that you're considering in terms of how you make student presentations in your online courses. That's great, and we will touch on those throughout the session today. Thank you. The main points that we're going to touch on today are: why would you use online student presentations? What tools are available? Tips for success, and then questions and resources for you. And as I mentioned a little bit earlier, the purpose of today's session is to give an overview of a number of different tools, and then provide you with links to resources that if you think you might want to explore one of these tools, then you can click on those resources and explore them in further detail. In the email that I send after this session, I will send you a list of resources and links to all of these different tools and information that we have already on our website that can be very supportive of you when you're exploring these things. Let's consider why you might have students present online. One of the things that is very important in teaching is active learning. And active studies show that active learning helps to facilitate deeper learning on the part of students. So when they are actively engaged in the classroom and they're motivated by using these different tools and presenting, then they're likely to remember the information longer. We're hoping to move it from their short-term memory to their long-term memory, and having them actively engaged and presenting is one way to actively engage them in learning. And it also helps with them being engaged with the classroom as a whole. We want to make sure that they feel that there are things going on that motivate them to stay connected and engaged in that classroom. And presenting is one way to do that. And we will look at some synchronous and asynchronous options for that. Another reason you might have students present online is that you might use a presentation as a way to assess their knowledge. You could have students present, and if they're presenting while they're learning the information, that's a form of formative assessment. And when formative assessment is conducted, the instructor, faculty member gives feedback to the student. They can clarify any misunderstandings that the students have, and then students might have options to revise their work. And formative assessment one of those you could do that is through using presentations in your online course. You could also use presentations as summative assessments. Those are those higher stakes assessments that they're worth more points. They typically occur at the end of a major section of the course, or maybe it's a midterm type of assessment or a final type of assessment. And those, or opportunities where the students demonstrate their knowledge, and summative assessments, they don't usually have the opportunity to revise it. It's kind of a final project type of approach. Another reason that you might have students present online is to build community in the online classroom. That's very important in terms of keeping students engaged, honoring their voice. You can have students present their unique ideas in the classroom using these various tools we're going to look at today. When students are sharing their individual perspectives and they have audio and video and these different types of tools, it helps them more connected, and we want to keep them engaged and connected in this remote teaching environment. And fortunately, there are a number of tools available to help with that. And presentations can also help students when they're constructing knowledge. If students are sharing their presentations and they're recorded and they're in the online course, then students are constructing knowledge together and seeing different perspectives. And that goes a long way in terms of building an inclusive learning environment where people with different perspectives can present those to each other and discuss. And we're going to look at ways, different tools that you can use for that today. There are a variety of different tools available. I don't want to say the options are endless, but there are many, many, many tools available. As I mentioned earlier, I'm going to focus on tools that we have resources curated in the Faculty Development Keep Teaching and Keep Learning sites and in our Faculty Development homepage. We'll also touch on some other tools But in terms of, want to make sure that you have what you need and the students need. If you decide that you want to have presentations in your classes, we want to make sure that you have the support and resources. And as I said, a number of those resources and workshops have been recorded and they're posted in our site. So that should give you a solid foundation for making decisions on how you want to have students present in the class. We're going to consider web conferencing tools, a discussion tool, some video authoring tools, screencasting, a couple of other Blackboard tools, and some web tools that just a few that are out there that students may already be comfortable with. The first tool that I'd like to discuss is the web conferencing tool, and we are currently using the Blackboard Collaborate web conferencing tool. You're getting the live experience now. It's a synchronous online, it can be used for synchronous online presentations. I'm providing a synchronous online presentation now, and we have the audio, video, chat, dial-in. Dial-in is an option that if students can't connect with the audio and video and they can't get in through the web, then there's also a dial-in option. And I've had students, I teach on Tuesday nights, and I have students that some of them use the dial-in option because maybe they're commuting in their car or something, and so there are different ways that students can get in. And for the Blackboard Collaborate tool, there are a variety of different tools they can use. There's a whiteboard that they can use. They can share screens, they can share content and applications. Now I am sharing content. This is a PowerPoint that I saved as a PDF file, and I'm sharing it as a content file. There also are breakout rooms that you can use in Blackboard Collaborate, and Dan Cabrera is going to be hosting a workshop this Thursday where he talks about Blackboard Collaborate breakout rooms. So if that's something that you are interested in, you might want to consider either going to that workshop on breakout rooms or looking at one of the videos that we have posted on our Keep Teaching site. In terms of presenting student presentations, you could have them present to the whole class using this system just like I am now, and you could also have small group discussions using the breakout rooms, and they could share information on those, present information to their groups, and then come back to the main web conference room. Just think about how that makes sense to design it when you're creating the activity. And last week we had a number of Blackboard Collaborate sessions where we went through step by step how you set up these sessions, how you work with the recordings, how you work with the different tools, and those recordings are online as well on the Keep Teaching site. And Microsoft Teams, how many of you have used Microsoft Teams? If you could raise your hands in the, just to let me know. Okay, so I see a few people have used Microsoft Teams. It is a tool that is available to the faculty and students and staff now, and we often use it for text messages to each other, and you can create different channels to share information. In addition to that, there is a synchronous online presentation option, and we've been using that to get accustomed to it for our daily meetings. It's a fairly simple tool to use, has similar options as Blackboard Collaborate, has audio, video, chat, and dial-in. And when you're thinking about tips, dial-in is using less bandwidth, and so if people are having spotty internet connections or something, that's why sometimes they end up with the dial-in option, and that's fine. They can talk on their cell phone, and they can hear on their cell phone and find out what's going on in the session. And the Microsoft Teams application is integrated with Microsoft Office 365. And we also have extensive resources for Microsoft Teams on our Keep Teaching website, as well as on the Division of Information Technology website. And when you're considering web conferencing, think about, do you want the students to present to the whole class? How much time is that going to take logistically? How is that going to work? You might want to have, you definitely want to record these sessions, and then the recording can be shared in your course. And then if somebody had a connection issue or they weren't available to attend the session for some reason due to something outside of their control, they can still have access to the information. And so you're providing options to support their student learning success and keeping the information available in the course. Discussions are another option that you can use for students to present, and the tool that I've highlighted here is the Flipgrid tool. Has anybody used Flipgrid in their courses yet? Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Diane, I see that you have your hand raised. Could you, if you have a question, could you, oh, I see you're not. Could you ask it in the Q&A, please? Thank you. In terms of Flipgrid, it is an alternative to text chat. So it's an option where students can record video format and then they can share the recording. It adds dimensions of multimedia dialogue into the course. And some instructors that have used Flipgrid said that they have seen that students who were more quiet in the class, and they tend to kind of come out of their shell a little bit and share more. And so these different types of discussions, and instead of just having text, it kind of livens up the online environment, and then it makes them more interested and curious, and it's a much more engaging environment than if they're just typing on the screen. So it's something to consider if you want to try a little bit of a different version of discussions that have an added feature of a bit of video. And we have resources for that on our Keep Teaching website as well. Video authoring tools are something that students would need if they're going to create presentations. We talked about some that are built into the systems that we have, the Teams and the Blackboard Collaborate. VoiceThread is another option. Video authoring tools provide, like VoiceThread and Screencastify and Screencast-O-Matic, provide students the opportunity to quickly create their own media to present it in an online class. They're sharing original content, and it allows you to put another dimension of that digital media. They can use images, videos, documents, and use it in an asynchronous way. So they're sharing this asynchronously, but it has added dimensions such as videos and images and things. So it adds to engagement. And they can contribute using keyboards, microphones, webcams. When you're thinking about these different tools, it is important to think about what students have access to. And all of the NIU faculty and students have access to this VoiceThread tool now. And it also creates automatic captions. So those are things to think about in terms of providing the captions for the students. When students are creating that original content, brings in another dimension of that active learning and sharing their unique voice in the environment, and helps to build that human aspect of the online course. And students enjoy using tools where they're um, engaged in ways that use audio or video. It makes the course kind of come alive. And there are a number of resources for the VoiceThread tool in our Keep Teaching site as well. And screencasting tools, the Screencastify and Screencast-O-Matic, those are free tools, and Screencastify is a plugin for the Chrome browser. And the screencasting allow people to record things on their screen. They can have audio and webcams to create informative and engaging software or other screen-based demonstrations. And then they save the video. And then those, the Screencastify or Screencast-O-Matic, those can be hosted in VoiceThread, which all the faculty and students have access to, or another video platform that can be shared in your course. So when you're looking at these different tools, we have those links on our Keep Teaching site. And if you think that capturing the screen and having them walk through an audio provide a narrative of what they're walking through on their screen, then you might want to consider these 3 video authoring tools. And as I said, Screencastify and Screencast-O-Matic are free, so that makes it, it's open to students. They don't have to worry about any kind of additional costs, and then the VoiceThread is open to all the faculty and staff. Those are other considerations when you're thinking about these tools. Also consider what types of equipment the students may or may not have, and you might not know that. So if you select a tool, or let them select a tool that they have equipment that works with it, then you're likely to have the most positive experience when they're presenting in the class. Other Blackboard tools that you have access to, the students could use to present: Blackboard Portfolio tool. Has anybody used the Blackboard Portfolio tool? Okay, the Blackboard Portfolio tool is okay, all right, thank you. Is a tool that allows students to create an electronic portfolio, and they can build in examples of their work. And one of the things that they can do is they can add a video to their Blackboard portfolio. So that could be another way that they could present using a different tool that they all have access to. And we have developed an extensive array of support for the Blackboard portfolio tools, and they're available in the faculty development main page for Blackboard. And it's a different way to engage students, and it's a way for them to keep track of their work and for you to see their work, and for them to add video, and it adds another dimension of that multimedia and interest in the online course. And I'll be sharing links to all of these resources when I send after the session. I'll send the links to everybody for all these tools. Also, the Blackboard system the Blackboard Collaborate system that we're in right now has a whiteboard tool. And if you look at the top of your screen, you should see a pencil and a shape and a T. And what I would like for you to do is just click on one of those tools, the pencil or the shape or the T, and just draw on the screen. You can select the different color for the, okay, so you can see that you might not originally think that that's a presentation tool, but it is a tool that students could use to present. One of the things they could do is they could show a presentation, and then they could use the tools to show connections between the different aspects of the information on the screen. They like it. It keeps them engaged, and it's a simple presentation tool. Also, if you shared a blank whiteboard, I'm going to erase the drawings now. You could share a blank whiteboard, and then you could have them draw a concept map to demonstrate, and this whiteboard has information on it, but you could have them draw a concept map with different shapes, and then they could explain the relationships between these different components on the concept map. And this is a very simple concept map, but they could use the whiteboard to show their understanding of the way concepts fit together. And you could use this as a way, sort of a form of formative assessment. If these two concepts are not connected in the way that they have demonstrated in their concept map, then you have the opportunity to clarify and add more details at that moment. So it's one of those, like when you're in class and you ask students to prepare flip charts or whatever, we have all kinds of smart screens and everything now. Then you have the opportunity to clarify at that moment, and then they understand clearly, and then you can move on. It's a simple tool, and they seem to like it, and it helps with providing visual representations of knowledge, and doesn't require a lot of setup. It's really not any setup at all. You just are in Blackboard Collaborate, and the tools are at the top. Another tool that NIU faculty and students have access to now is Kaltura Capture, and they can use this to record material on their screen. It's a tool that they can use to record presentations. They can record PowerPoints on the screen, Word documents, software programs, and they can narrate it. So they're recording this, and then they're explaining what they're doing with the screens. And it's another way for them to create a presentation and share it with the class. And we have a couple of presentations that were conducted last week about Kaltura. I think there's some this week as well. If you're interested in a tool where they're able to record information on their screens and maybe demonstrate software or some steps with audio when they're presenting on this on the screen, then you might consider the Kaltura Capture. They would need a headset or earbuds and a webcam. So most students have access to a smartphone. Depending upon what their equipment is, then it might be something they could use or might not. But that kind of goes with all of these. But one of the suggestions is to remain flexible when you're allowing students to present online. The tools that I discussed so far are tools that we have quite a few resources for on our Keep Teaching website, and I wanted to make sure that you are aware of those different options and that there's a strong foundation of resources for you, and you can call us in faculty development and we'll help you with those. There are many other tools on the web. YouTube is a common tool for people to use, and that also comes with you can have auto captions for that. When you're using tools that have auto captions, be sure that you check those auto captions because they're not perfect and you want to make sure that the information is correct. Adobe Spark is a tool that is free and students could use it. Prezi, Instagram, TikTok. I mean, there are many, many different ways that students could create and share presentations. Okay, let me do an audio check here. Can you all hear me? Raise your hand if you can hear me, please. Okay, so Natalie, can you hear me? Steve, Tamara, okay, all right. Okay, there will be a recording and this is something that can happen when you are in a session. Thank you all for letting me know that you could hear me. when you are in a session, bandwidth and different things can happen, and people are in all different locations, and just let the students know and reassure them that you are recording the session and that the session will be available to them. And if they had some technical issues, the information will still be available to them. And that's a comforting um, piece of information for students. They want to make sure that they can get access to the information. Okay, so somebody can hear from their phone. Okay. And then other tools that you can use as students might use Google Hangouts or Zoom or Skype as options for conferencing with each other. So you could ask them if they're, if there's a tool that they're comfortable with and that is functional with our systems. But I would recommend that in this time when we're, trying to get up and running quickly with the least amount of challenges, that if you use tools that we have curated lots of resources for, it will help you because those resources are available to the students as well. It's just things to keep in mind, but also consider the students' needs, what types of equipment they might have, be flexible. Some of them, will have, most of them have some type of a smartphone. Glitches can come up because there's very high demand on all these systems now, which is why, we're recording things and making sure there's persistent data in the course for them. And then if something happens with technology, they still have access to the information. And let them know about the online resources and be patient. We're all, it's important that we're all patient and kind with each other because it goes a long way in helping us, navigate these interesting times that we are currently experiencing. And I would recommend that you keep it simple. And that's another reason why I highlighted the tools that we have on our website with lots of resources, because it'll be less demand on you and the students. Also, the Disability Resource Center is available for support. If you have a student that has an accommodation letter, then get a hold of the Disability Resource Center and they can work with you on that. They also can, if a student has the captioning services that they've worked with the Disability Resource Center on, then get a hold of them, and they have processes in place to get captioning taken care of for you. So I would recommend just get a hold of them early, and they're working through all those processes now, and it's working great. They're on top of it, so just keep that in mind. And we have lots of resources to support you in as faculty moving to the remote teaching. Our keepteaching.nau.edu site has extensive resources. It has different scenarios that you could consider. Gives little scenarios of if you're teaching extensively with Blackboard, or you need them to do presentations, or you need labs or something. So check out our resources and our workshops and guides, because they were developed as a resource to help you. We also have a Keep Learning site, and this is for the students. I would post that in my Blackboard course so that they know, and that if they have questions, that link is available to them 24/7, and they can go on and look at the different tools and get answers about their internet access and tips for learning online. And that'll provide them comfort because they feel that they have the support that they need to be successful in an online course. We're also available for consultations on our Keep Teaching site. We have links to schedule one-on-one consultations on the phone, or we have virtual consultations in Blackboard Collaborate. We have additional workshops this week, and the Disability Resource Center information is on the screen as well. And just remember, I put this picture of mission and mini mission up there because everyone has been doing such a great job, just really rolling up their sleeves and getting into this and looking at the resources and really focused on success. So, I want everybody to just keep in mind, stay happy and positive like mission and mini mission, and we have lots of resources to support you. Now I'm going to stop the recording.